honestly, I don't know what the recall is all about, because this guy's been trying to save our lives. Oh, I've been fully vaccinated. This guy's been trying to save our lives. This pandemic started. You know what I mean? People don't understand. We're at war with a virus.
Well, we know who's not running on the recall ballot. Danny Trejo endorsing Governor Newsom during a press conference in L.A. on Friday. Newsom signing a $6.2 billion small business tax cut initiative. Newsom's recall campaign also creating a new Twitter account in the last few weeks at Stop the Republican Recall. So we've heard from Randy Economy, strategists, recall candidates, and Newsom's campaign. So it's now time to hear from the two journalists who cover the governor and the recall. Let's bring in our panel, political writer for the Sacramento Bee, Laura Cordy, and longtime political journalist, current columnist for Cal Matters, Dan Walters. Thank you both for being with me. So Dan, I want to start with you. We're going to head into this next phase of the recall after, if it's official of course, in 30 days. But taxpayers are now expected to see a price tag of somewhere $400 million for this special election, the richest in state history. Will California show up at the polls?
Well, that's the $64 million question, isn't it? Will California show up at the polls? Recall elections are a peculiar breed of election, number one, because of the very unusual dynamics of it. And secondly, they are special elections, which means, will people turn out on special elections in November, right as the holiday season begins? Well, the people who want to recall Gavin Newsom probably hope it'll be a very low turnout election, because that would mean that the people who dislike Newsom the most would probably be more willing to vote than the people who support him. So if they have any chance probably of unseating Newsom, and it's a slender chance at best, I suspect, it's going to be probably a low turnout election in which the anti-Newsom group turns out and the pro-Newsom group, I don't know, has another drink for the holidays or something.
Well, Laura, let me get to you, because how big of a loss is this for Newsom's political future, just knowing that this recall will happen? That's one. And then if you can answer this somehow, does he even want to campaign hard if the candidates if the candidate list doesn't grow as much as we're seeing now?
Yeah, so, you know, people have put it to me that it's not good for this to turn into a high attention political circus, because, you know, Newsom has been trying to brush this off for a long time. It's a right-wing nonsense campaign. That's how he's tried to paint it. And so for this to get a lot more attention from national media, from celebrities, is not going to work very well in his favor. We're certainly going to see more people jumping in as the next weeks go on. But for Newsom, does he want to campaign hard on this? I think he has to. I think it looks bad if he doesn't come out and do what he's doing. Political consultants say that he's doing the right thing.
And Dan, we heard from the former governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, albeit is on the late night shows. But as we all know, he was the beneficiary of the Gray Davis recall. And he says Caitlyn Jenner has a chance. So, does she?
Well, I knew Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Caitlyn Jenner is no Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, obviously a celebrity several notches below Arnold Schwarzenegger, who had a global image and is a larger-than-life figure. No, I don't think that and to go back 18 years, probably the single biggest reason that Gray Davis was recalled was that Arnold Schwarzenegger was on the ballot. If it had been just this cast of 134 candidates without Arnold Schwarzenegger, chances are Gray Davis would have won.
Well, Dan,
Schwarzenegger made all the difference, but we don't have anybody on the horizon with that kind of, call it what you will, star impact or whatever, that might turn the thing around.
Is there a name that's in your head that you say there's star power here? Is there a name that you got?
Not offhand, because Charlton Heston's no longer with us. I don't think that Clint Eastwood is likely to make the run, even though he used to be a Republican. No, I don't see anybody doing that. Maybe the other question is any Democrat going to be on the ballot? Yeah. Substantial Democrat. And the only one only name that gets kicked around is Antonio Villaraigosa, the former mayor of Los Angeles. But he kind of is playing a coy on that. Well, you know, unless there's a big a big star and big money behind a big star, this is going to be a real rough go for the pro recall people. That said, we always have to remember it's not what people think in April. It's how people are thinking in November. And we don't know what's going to happen between now and November, 7 months from now, in terms of the pandemic is still out there.
Yeah.
The economy is still out there. Wildfires, blackouts. We don't know whether the kids are going to be going back to school in September. There are a lot of X factors that could influence the outcome of this recall election.
And Laura, I want you to finish it up here. I know Dan brings up a lot of good points, but let me take it a step further. Does a woman or a woman of color with a political background need to jump into this race to really make some noise?
That's interesting. That's not something that I've heard people thrown around a lot. You know, you would think that pushing a more progressive candidate might be the job of the Democrats, and the Democrats are trying to keep progressive candidates out of this. That being said, I think that if you have a diverse candidate, it's going to be really hard for the Democrats to paint this as some kind of white supremacist alt-right movement if the leader of the movement is, you know, somebody who is typically underrepresented. So that could change things. But again, the situation in 2003, Arnold Schwarzenegger had so much name recognition. Gray Davis's numbers were much lower. To really shake things up, I think is going to take a number of big impact factors in this recall race.
All right, we got a lot more to come in a little bit with our panel, but still to come is the city of Fresno and its police department ready for real reform and policy change. This week, the implementation team put the wheels in motion. The chair of the Commission on Reform, Oliver Baines, will join me next.